ahead of these guys.
Yeah,
because like I mentioned, there was a guy on Twitter who responded to the tweet I put out apologizing and mentioning the account.
Yeah,
on Monday. That webinar, they could not hold it.
Yes, somebody has to find a solution today. This is, imagine if you were not very patient. We could have cancelled this. That's just the truth. You could have gotten really upset, and thanks for your understanding.
One thing that also comes to my mind is when you have issues like this, there is somebody who needs to hear this. There's somebody who needs to hear this.
Yeah, I agree.
I tell people, when it is raining, that is not the time to go back to your bed and say, I can't go to church because it's raining. There is something in that day that something wants to prevent you from hearing. So there's somebody here who needs this and who most likely will be able to take this. And in the next few years, you will just hear Brother Wale, Brother Bukumi, it was at your seminar that something happened.
Yeah, that's good. And I'd like to thank Collins. Collins is one of your followers. He had reached out and was trying to also help sort this out. In fact, he was one of the ones that mentioned that we didn't start on time. Nigerian, and I smiled.
One who mentioned it. Okay.
Yes, because I went to your handle. I knew that things will be happening on your handle. I knew.
Yes.
A lot of people will be wondering what's going on. So I said,
and interestingly, a lot of people were defending. A lot of people said positive things and said, "We know the organizers. We know Bayo."
I saw that too. I was quite.
Honestly, it also shows that you have very good pedigree. People know you for what you stand for, and you need to keep it. So people will be able to make excuses for us. Like I said, that exemption that I was talking about, people will give you that exemption based on your previous records and antecedents.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Yeah, I think as soon as we get to, is that Madam behind you?
Okay, no, that's my daughter. Okay, sorry, my daughter.
Okay, sorry. Oh, lovely. It's good to see you. This is definitely not Zoom bombing.
Wow, Collins is saying it was purely porn film that they showed us on Monday. Can you imagine?
Wow. Can you imagine?
Wow.
That's amazing. Wow. That's amazing. I think you can continue, sir. We have it recorded, so we can share the link.
But I can't share my screen.
Okay. I'm going to change the settings so that you can share your screen.
Okay.
Let me do that now.
Okay.
So I've done that. I've changed the settings. Please try to do it again.
Okay, that's fine.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir. Is it working, sir? Oh, great.
Oh, sorry. It's just a minute. Okay, yes. Let me put it on slideshow.
You can go on, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. We apologize for the break, and I'll just go right on with the 9th commandment. Don't forget, we're talking about the 10 commandments of business and finance. We have been able to look at 8 commandments so far. Just a quick recap. We've been able to look at 8th commandment. The first one, thou shalt understand that God does not give money. We looked at the second one. Remember that finances will never flow to a lazy man. And I mentioned the 4 core things that businesses must imbibe. I said they must not be afraid of taking risk. Businesses, you can't do business and be lethargic. You have to be agile. You have to be able to adapt and survive. Okay, I also stated that business might involve inconveniences at times. So if you want to rise, you must be ready to leave your comfort zones. I also mentioned the fact that you must listen to sound counsel. So much information online if you want to be a better entrepreneur or you want to be to manage your finances better. Law number 3, you honor your relationships because you will never go further than them. I mentioned my own personal story of how I have been able to work for 7 banks, 7 financial organizations just by leveraging on relationships. Leveraging on relationships. You know, we pray to God for God to bless us. God to bless us with jobs, God to bless us with business ideas and all that. But what God does is he sends relationships to us as answers to our prayers. If you look at the scriptures, God had told Abraham, I'm going to bless you, I'm going to give you a child. But Abraham and Sarah did not have a child, but God had told them so many years before, and some years after, there was this particular, some people just came walking across, and the Bible said Abraham ran after them. Abraham ran after them and entreated them to come in. Okay, quickly called Sarah and the servant, please go and kill the fatted cow, go and bring milk. Strangers, total strangers that Abraham did not know, gave them food, asked them to stay. And then those strangers, not knowing they were angels, they were about to leave. And then they just looked at Abraham and said, by this time of life, that means around this time next year, your wife is going to carry a child. And Sarah had insight and was laughing. Now, God had given Abraham that promise for a long time, but it took treating strangers very well. It took leveraging on relationships to unlock that promise, So honor your relationships because you will never go further than them. I think this is one area that God has given me a lot of insights, and I pray God will open your eyes, because whatever you need can get the wings of relationships. Whether you want your businesses to go higher or you want to rise higher in your career, you can get it on the wings of relationships. So we spoke about law number 4, commandment 4, thou shalt have a mentor. And I gave the example of how my mentor, I was in his house in South Africa, told me to go and look at a particular real estate, taught me about real estate. I also gave the example of how I was able to, he asked me to come to a town called Shion, around Shagamu, going to Abeokuta. And it taught me certain things I would never see inside some textbooks. Your service is done of another man. There is nothing you are doing that somebody has not done before. Maybe one form or the other. There is nothing you're doing that somebody has not done before. So when you have a mentor, that mentor is able to help you. You are able to avoid their mistakes. You can make your own fresh mistakes. Okay, that's one of the advantages of mentoring or mentorship. You are able to avoid the mistakes that they made because thou shalt have a product, a service, or knowledge to offer. Anything you want to do can be classified into those 3 buckets. And I mentioned that you need to identify a need before you set up your business. See my internet connection. Okay, so identify a need before you set up a business. Don't set up a business and then you start looking for needs. Don't set up a business and then you start looking for needs. I gave the example of my wife's business, how she was able to write down her unique selling points or unique selling propositions before she started her preschool. So if you want to start a business also, you need to sit down. This business that I want to start, what are the unique selling propositions? What can I do differently? Because there is somebody somewhere who is doing the same thing that you are doing. So why should people come to you? Why should people come to you? Why should people patronize you? You're not the only one who has a supermarket. Okay, so why should people come to you? What will be different about you? What are you going to do differently? Those are the questions you need to sit down and write in a business plan before you set up a business. Okay. Law number 6, commandment number 6, thou shalt know that money is the reward for getting something done. Okay. And I gave the story of example of David and Goliath, how David was able to solve a national problem. We have a peculiar problem right now, hackers. Okay, this week now, at least we've seen some examples. So somebody who is able to solve this problem definitely will make money. Because when you solve this problem, all you need to do is to sell this solution to people and say, I have this solution. Once it works, you command the price. That's why I say, if you play well, people will pay you well. So if there is anybody who can solve this problem now, okay, and you can get a first-comer advantage, whatever you charge is what people will pay. Whatever you charge is what people will pay. So money is a reward for getting something done. And I mentioned that 3 levels, when you solve a problem, you get rewarded on 3 levels: affluence, influence, and exemption. I also spoke about the seed principle. Everything big started small. Okay, your business should never remain at the rudimentary stage. Make sure you are growing. Make sure you are improving on a daily basis. On a daily basis. I also mentioned that you should embrace learning and training. You need to learn, you need to relearn, you need to unlearn. There are certain things that we need to unlearn. They will not work for this generation again. There are certain things we need to relearn. You need to educate your ignorance. Sometimes last year, I actually put myself through for training for data analytics. Okay, because I felt that was an area I also need to know more about. It was not my organization paying. I paid for myself, and I will go for that training. Okay, I needed to know about advanced Excel. I needed to know about advanced data analytics, and I felt it would be good for my career. So you need to learn, you need to relearn, you need to unlearn, you need to educate your ignorance. Get financially literate. Read books about personal finances. Read books about personal finances. And there are a lot of books about personal finance out there. Good books. Read them. One of the best that I've seen is The Richest Man in Babylon. I've read that book so many times. I recommend that book very highly. When I mentor people on personal finance, I recommend that book. It's a fantastic book. Absolutely fantastic book. A book you can sit down and finish in just less than an hour, but the lessons there will stay with you for a lifetime. So embrace learning and training. And this was where we were before we left off the other time. Thou shalt have multiple streams of income. And I asked the question, what will happen to you if your income stream is blocked? Just like it happened during the lockdown. A lot of families had their income stream shut down. As a matter of fact, I had somebody who was working in the university. The husband is a university lecturer, and they were not being paid. I think they were even on strike. The wife works in one of the facilities within that university, and both of them had to put their car for sale so that they could feed, because they had only a single stream of income. What will happen to you if your income stream is blocked? If you are fired today, are you able to live on that same standard of living for the next 6 months? Do you have anything set aside for the next 6 months that can help you and your family to tide over, maybe until you start a job or until you get another job or something, or you start a business? What will happen to you if your income stream is blocked? What will happen to you? So it is important that we all take our time to answer this question. Now, this is my own approach to multiple streams of income, because it is easy for people to come and say multiple streams of income, go into agri, go into real estate, go into IT, do a little bit of this. That's not my approach. My approach is, if you're looking for multiple streams of income, you need to think about the law of the value chain. You need to think about the law of the value chain. I wrote extensively on Twitter about the law of value chain. You can look for that tweet. Okay, you can look for that tweet. Just put into that search window on Twitter, law of the value chain, greater buyers by handle. It will come up. And I wrote extensively dimensioning the law of the value chain. But I'll speak a little bit about it here, because I want you to understand these multiple streams of income. So if you're looking for multiple streams of income, you think about the law of value chain. You think about value chain opportunities. And I'll give an example to be able to explain this. Now, if you run a school, like my wife runs a school, and you are thinking about what additional thing can I do? What other streams of income can I have? Now you need to now dimension. The easiest way to do so is to look at that thing that you are doing and then dimension the value chain opportunities in it and see the one you can easily do there. So if you're running a school, can you sell school kits and uniforms? Can you sell school kits and uniforms? Can you sell educational toys? Can you go into sales of books and educational materials? Or can you simply have branches? Can you simply have branches? There are schools who have branches on the mainland, on the highland. I know a school that has a branch in Festac, they have in Lekki, they have in Idimu, they have in BGC, and they have about 5 or 6 or 7 branches. Yes, those are also multiple streams of income. And you can be sure that those schools are not going to charge the same thing in those different locations. Or if you have a preschool, can you start a primary school? And then you graduate to a secondary. And I know this particular school I'm talking about also has a university right now. So multiple streams of income. Can you go into educational consulting? Since you have been able to set your own school successfully, can you go into consulting for people? Can you go into training of teachers? Those are multiple streams of income. I know a particular school that offers training, around Lekki, and a lot of people all over Nigeria come to that school for training. I know people from Ibadan who come to the school for training. Okay, can you go into training of teachers? Can you go into consulting? Can you help people to set up their own schools? Those are multiple streams of income, taking advantage of the value chain opportunities. Now, so when you're talking about value chain opportunities, you look at your sector or your industry holistically. Let me give another example. If you're a music artist, you're a musician, you're a music artist, there are a lot of value chain opportunities apart from just releasing an album, apart from just releasing your CD, your album. Okay? We have concerts. You can do concerts. Like I mentioned, you can release album. You can set up a studio. You can set up a studio where people can come and record sessions. They can come and record sessions. There are a lot of studios that are springing up because music or entertainment is on the rise in the nation. So can you set up a studio? Can you do jingles? Jingles for companies, for radio stations, jingles for different products. There's a particular very popular gospel artist who actually started a music profession by doing jingles and by doing voiceovers and what do you call this in films, in movies, okay? By doing their songs for them in movies. And her voice was all over Yoruba, Nollywood then and all that. And then she went into gospel music. So can you do jingles? Can you compose songs? Some people actually, their job or their career is to compose songs for notable A-list artists. Can you score music? Music scoring is also a career, is also a stream of income. Can you have a record label? Can you have instruments and rent out the instruments? I did a video recording last week, and I got the camera and all the equipment from a music artist. He's a rapper, he's a rap artist. And he has the camera, he has the light, he has everything. And I got all the equipment for him. Thankfully for free, he gave them to me for free. And he recorded me for free, the video. Okay, but imagine if you were to rent out that equipment. If you were to rent it out. And I asked him, how much does this camera cost? It was a professional camera. And he told me, so can you rent out instruments or equipment? Can you become a music or sound engineer? A lot of organizations now need sound engineers. Churches every single Sunday need sound engineers. Can you sell music? Can you sell? Okay. Can you promote music? Music promotion is a career, it's a stream of income. Can you distribute music? Music distribution is one of the value chain. Can you run a music blog? That's also a value chain. Can you produce podcasts? That's a value chain. Can you make ringtones? That's a value chain. So that's my own approach to having multiple streams of income. Looking at what you do, dimension it holistically, and look at areas where you can now expand or you can touch on. It is easy for you to flow from the inside to the outside than for you to take unrelated businesses that most likely you do not have any experience about and then you do. That's my own approach to having multiple streams of income. So have more than one stream of income. The more you have, the better your finances will be. Now, talking about me personally, I am a banker, okay, but I have a farm. I mean, farming is one thing that constitutionally is the Nigerian constitution, if you don't know. Constitutionally, everybody's encouraged to have a farm. This is in Nigeria's constitution. Okay, so I'm allowed to have a, so I have a farm, all right, that I run. In fact, just yesterday, I have a pig that gave birth to 8 piglets. 2 days before that, another pig gave birth to 8 piglets. Another, so I have a farm. Okay, but I write books. I also write books. And I get a lot of income from writing books. I'm a public speaker. So I speak publicly at seminars, at webinars, and I do training. I do training on personal finance. I do training on customer service. some organizations ask me to come and train their staff, and I do that, and I also earn some income. So look at what you do, okay? Look at the value chain opportunities in what you do, and from there, you can look at having multiple streams of income, okay? And finally, thou shalt cultivate a savings habit. That's the final commandment. Thou shalt cultivate a savings habit. One thing I tell people is, if you can't save when you earn 50,000 naira, you will not save when you earn 500,000 naira. It's a law. So when you're talking about cultivating a savings habit, it's a discipline. It's about disciplining yourself. It's a discipline. If you cannot discipline yourself when you earn 50,000, you will not be able to discipline yourself when you earn 5 million naira. It is a law. And that's why some people find tithing also difficult. If you cannot tithe when you earn 20,000 naira per month, and you cannot take that 2,000 naira and take it and set it aside, you will not be able to set aside your tithe when you earn 2 million naira per month. It's a law. I'm sure quite a few people would have read when I wrote an article about my personal driver. Okay, my personal driver who built a house. That article went viral and all that at that time. You know, so many years back, I had a driver, not my personal driver anyway, the driver of the bank, but it was our pool driver. And one day, we were going out on a call. Those days, I used to sit at the back of the car, owner's corner, what you call owner's corner. I don't sit there again after that incident. But I used to sit at the owner's corner. So the guy was driving, very humble guy, Mr. Lawal. And as we passed a place called Akobo Joni in Ibadan, he pointed at a particular street and said, Ogami, he said it in Yoruba, that is my house that you are looking at. And I looked at the building, bungalow, well, not painted, bungalow, but it was his house. And I looked at him and I said, Mr. Lawal, your house? He said, by the grace of God, sir. He said it in Yoruba. I said, your house that you built? He said, yes, sir. I was looking at him because I know his salary. And I was earning multiples of his salary. But at that time, I didn't even have a plot of land. And here I was, sitting in owner's corner. And this guy was in front driving me, very humble. The only thing I've noticed was that anytime we go out and we want to eat, and we call him Mr. Lawa, let's go in and eat. He'll say, what he said is, no, just give me money. Just give me money. So we'll just give him his own money, 1,000 naira, and then put it in his pocket. I have never seen him eating before. Apparently, he would have eaten before he comes to work, and then he eats at home. Any other thing people give him, he keeps it. And he had 3 children in school. One at that time was in a college of education, and I think one was in secondary school, one was, and he was a widower. His wife had passed on, and he didn't remarry. But he had a car that he brings to work. He will park it, and he treats the car like an egg. When he's going back home, he will carry people inside his car for public transport, charge them, and do that for some time, make some money, go home. When he's coming to work in the morning, he will carry passengers also, collect money. So his car was not for luxury. His car was not for convenience. His car was for business. And he was able to save, and he was able to buy land, and he was able to build a house. So thou shalt cultivate a savings habit. And it's what I call the Joseph principle. Joseph in the scripture in Egypt, one of the things he told Pharaoh at that time to be able to solve the problem was to put away 20% of their savings over 7 years. And that's why I say, if you want to save, the minimum you should also save is 20%. Save 20%, put it away in a savings account on a consistent basis, on a monthly basis. And then when it becomes an investable amount, invest it in an interest yielding instrument. And then you start the savings all over again. So thou shalt cultivate a savings habit. Save money and money will save you. That's a Jamaican proverb. Okay, so I will just quickly run through the second aspect. I think I'll just spend about 10 minutes here because we've spent a lot of time so that we can take questions and answer. I shared this online, a series of tweets, so I'll just talk to them. I call them 7 common sense rules for finance and investment. 7 common sense rules for finance and investment. Those are personal rules that have guided me for finance and investment over the years. You may find some controversial, okay, but it works for me. And if it works for you, I think it will be fine. So the first one, don't lend money to friends and family. I've had a lot of people come after me because of this. Maybe it's stingy. No. Don't lend money to friends and family. I tell people that money and friends, they're like oil and water. They don't mix. So what I usually do is, if you're a friend and you want to borrow money from me, I actually give you what I can afford. Because I value my relationship over money. So if you don't return the money to me, I don't want to destroy our relationship. So I will rather give to you what I can afford. In fact, my own mantra is, if I respect you too much, I cannot lend money to you. So I can't lend money to my pastor. I can't drag my pastor if it doesn't repay me for one reason or the other. So if I respect you too much, I cannot lend money to you. Okay, someone said, if you gain an enemy if you lend money to friends. You gain an enemy if you lend money to friends. And that has been my example. Some friends in times past give them money, and then when you now begin to ask them, they say, why are you harassing me? And then you gain an enemy when you lend money to friends. That's my experience. So, because if you ask for the money back, they will accuse you of harassing them. Look at what Sam Levinson said. He said, never lend money to a friend. It's dangerous. It could damage his memory. So that's my own personal experience, and that's the mantra on which I live. Number 2, investigate before you invest. Investigate before you invest. Now, a few years ago, and it's still happening anyway, because some of these things we never learn from history. So history keeps happening. During the time of MMM, okay, before MMM, we already had all those, in Yoruba, they call them Sogundogoji, money doubling, the treasure line, the wet solution, the Nospet code. They will tell you to come and bring money. After 2 weeks, you get this back. But a lot of people fail to ask, what exactly are you investing in? What business are you investing in that will give you that kind of returns? Okay, recently I had cause to talk to somebody who was very close to me, who is very close to me. And I saw that the person was promoting a particular product. Okay, and I decided to call and I said, what exactly are they investing in? They are asking you to bring money into an agricultural enterprise. And they are telling you that in 3 months, they will give you 50-something% return. I said, what part of agric are they doing? Are they farming maize that they will give you 50-something% returns in 3 months? Is it cucumber they are growing? Or they have goats or cow? What exactly are they doing? And then I asked her, has anybody been to their farm? Because they are telling you that their farm is in Edo State or wherever. Has anybody been to their farm? Have you seen their farm before? Did they do a video of their farm that you saw it, or anybody has been physically, has physically gone to their farm? But because people see a lot of returns, bring your money, the minimum investment, 250,000 naira, and we will give you 50% return in 3 months. And a lot of people are rushing into it. The easiest thing to lose is money. So carry out your investigation before you invest. I am not saying it's a fraud. I've not spoiled anybody's business, but I'm saying before you put your money in any enterprise or any business or any so-called investment, ask them, what do you do? What are you investing the money in? Because a fool and his money are soon parted. So many people are falling to scams. So I encourage you, do your due diligence, no matter how much pressure you are under. In fact, when somebody is putting you under pressure to invest, please don't. When the pressure is too much, please don't. Just take your time to think it through, because the easiest thing to lose in this world is money. Is money. So investigate before you invest. Number 3, if a deal is too good to be true, it's most likely too good to be true. If a deal is too good to be true, most likely it is too good to be true. Yeah, a lot of people will say, oh, the risks are high, so the returns will be higher. Very true. The higher the risk, the higher the returns. But the higher the returns, the higher the probability of loss also. The higher the probability of loss also. So don't be sucked in by the possibility of doubling your investment in a short while. If a deal is too good to be true, it is most likely too good to be true. Number 4, the best way to get rich is to get rich slowly. 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 The best things in life takes time. The best things in life, it will take time. And it includes growing your relationships, and it includes growing every other thing that goes through the process of growth. Okay? And the major reason why it takes time is because process is more important. Process is more important. The process is more important than the event itself. Because when you go through the process, there are so many things you learn. But if you jump the stage of learning, you jump the process, just because you want to get ahead, then you will crash suddenly. So that's why many lottery winners, sooner than later, they return to status quo. They return to status quo. I remember in this same country, somebody won a particular, what do you call those, reality show, okay? And they gave this person a substantial amount of money. And this person went to buy a power bike. Power bike was very expensive those days. Went to buy a power bike with all his winnings, okay? And then you begin to wonder, where is the power bike now? Okay, so a lot of lottery winners, most likely, sooner than later, they return to status quo. Why? They don't understand the process. If you have not handled 5 naira, 10 naira, 15 naira, 20 naira very well, if you just have 1 million naira today, you will mess up. If you have not handled 1 million very well, become a billionaire today, you will mess up. That's not just that day I want to have it. Even if your father can give you an airline, a plane, he will not, because you don't understand how to manage it. So the best way to get rich is to get rich slowly. Okay. Number 5, if you want to start a business with your own, start with your own funds. Just today, I was speaking with somebody who just was hell-bent on taking a facility from a bank to run his business. And I was saying, no, take it easy. Take it easy. I know you need finances, so take it easy. The first thing may not be to take money from a financial institution. Do the calculation and see. So I tell people, if you want to start a business, I'm not saying borrowing is wrong. No, it is not. Okay, and we'll go there. It is not wrong to borrow. But if you want to start your own business, start with your own funds. Have your skin in the game. Have your skin in the game. I've seen a lot of people tell me they need help with financing their business. And at that time, when I asked them, what are you bringing to the table? They will tell me all they have is a business plan. No, 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 no. It doesn't work that way. You must have your own skin in the business, so that if the business fails, you will not abandon it. We are need to get that. So if you want to start a business, you start with your own funds. Number 6, don't borrow to fund consumption. I'm talking about the personal finance rules that guide my own life. Don't borrow to fund consumption. Don't borrow to fund consumption. Let me just recap a little bit, go back a little bit on this particular number 5. If you want to start a business, you start with your own funds. When my wife was going to start her school, I had the option of asking my mentor for money. I was very pressed because I had to get a place to lease and pay about 3 years lease and all that in Magodo. That was pretty expensive. Okay, and I was pressed. I wanted to, but I knew that I would destroy that relationship if I asked for money. I've never asked my mentor for 1 naira before. No, I haven't. Okay, so I decided to look inwards. What were we going to do? Okay, we're able to look at our personal savings. Okay, we're able to look at, the contributions I do and so many other things like that. That was how we were able to start the business. So I encourage people who want to start a business to start with your own funds. Now, don't borrow to fund consumption. When I got married, I had an agreement with my wife, and that agreement will still keep to date. Whatever we cannot pay cash for, as it relates to consumption, it means we can't afford it. means we can't afford it. So I won't even go on vacation on credit. I won't go on vacation on credit. No, 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 no. If we cannot pay cash for it, that means we can't afford it. That means we can't afford it. And when we're getting married, very interesting story before I round up. When we're getting married, you know, I've always believed that you don't borrow to fund or to finance your wedding. If it is not going to increase your personal net worth, then it's not worth it. So when we're going to start, do the wedding, they gave me a long list that I was going to bring, clothes and all that and all that. So a friend of mine had gotten married about a month or so before us. So I went to him, I said, the box, leather box that you carried all your wife's things in is still very new. Please borrow me. Because I couldn't afford to buy my own. Okay. And I went to my wife, I said, give me some of the clothes that you have. Since they told me I must buy 10 yards of this, 20 yards of this, 10 yards of that, and they gave me a long list. So I took some of her clothes, put it inside the box. I locked it up with a padlock and put the key inside my pocket. Okay. And, you know, we decorated the box. I bought yam, I bought salt, and we took it there. And I remember that when we're doing the engagement and they wanted to look at the box, they wanted to open the box to look at the clothes. They were looking for the key to the box, and I joined them in looking for the key myself, but the key was in my pocket. I know they wouldn't stop the wedding because they couldn't open the box. So they said, let's go ahead. We can't find the key, let's go ahead. Anyway. And after we finished the wedding, as they were carrying the yam, I was carrying my own too. I carried half of the yam back into my car. I took one bag of salt back. I think I bought two. Why? Because after the wedding comes the marriage, and my wife was also going to eat at home. So I carried some of it back into my car. We still laugh at it nowadays. I'm not sure I will do that again, you know, but I'm just trying to say, don't borrow to fund or finance your wedding or any personal consumption. You need to understand, or you need to learn how to live within your means, okay? Number 7, have a budget. Always have a budget. Always have a budget. If nations have a budget, why shouldn't you have a budget? A budget is a spending plan, your personal spending plan, which enables you to track your income and expenses. Okay, so you need to know how much you spend on food, how much you spend on rent, on clothes, on education, on electricity, how much is your income. And if your expense is now greater than your income, you will always be in debt. If your expenses is greater than your income, you will always be in debt. So how do you now ensure you live below your means? You eliminate waste, you cut away waste, you reduce your expenses. Instead of eating out, can you eat in? Can you take food to work? Okay, can you cut down on cola? Can you stop taking some of those snacks, which are not even good for your health anyway? You can reduce your expenses and live within your budget and live within your means. Okay, thank you very much. I've come to the end of the presentation. I want to apologize again that we have to keep on switching and switching and switching, but I think I can now take some questions. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so very much, sir. Thanks so very much. In fact, if you look at my book, I've written over, I think, 4 pages. I've learned a lot. You know, for me, I have some major take home from the discussion today or from the session. One of them is when you talked about the 5th point, you talked about if you want to start a business, start with your money. You know, talked about business plan. You know, as a banker, I only work in Access Bank. I've worked in 4 banks, including Fidelity Bank, and so all the business plans I've seen, they all make money on paper. They all make money on paper. Like somebody was telling me that, okay, he wants to start a business, and all he has is the business plan. I'm like, the bank will not finance startup. Let's see what we've done. We can help you to scale. And he felt I was just being wicked. And after he talked about relationship, in all the 4 banks I've worked, I think it's only the first when I was at NITI, I joined, I was distributing CVs, I used to say, across all the banks, and they call me for Intercontinental Bank. And all the other banks I've worked is all on the platform of relationship. So I can truly relate with a lot of things you've said. Thank you so very much Thanks so very much. I'd like to open the floor for questions. Let me see if there are any questions here. Wonderful session. Please, if you have any question, you can unmute your mic and shoot. Can't see anybody. Any questions? You know, we talked about money. Okay, Collins Olaniyan. Can you please unmute your mic and ask your question?
Thank you very much, Mr. Trainer. Though I want to believe maybe why many people are not, I want to say that because it's well explanatory and it's more like hitting the nail on the head, and it's.
I can barely hear you, sir.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe you need to speak up a bit more.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I think it's better now.
Okay, thank you. I was saying that I want to believe. I'm just saying that maybe why we don't have many questions could be because the training or the session was just too impactful, and it's a way of life that we need to know, that to guide us even in investment. Like few minutes before during the course before we start this program, that was one of those investments, though I've done few of them like that, but someone sent one to me this morning of like all this crowdfunding for 3 months, Rise. I was trying what I don't normally used to do before. I was trying to find out now. I went to Twitter. There's one guy like that as well too that's been talking to me about Agric. I sent that to him. Like, please, can you investigate this for me? Because if we say rice within 3 months and you are getting 25% and you are even getting bags of rice for the investment, what am I trying to say in essence? Is for us to, some of those things that you have laid out for us today, they are fantastic things that, that we need to go back to it. And thankfully, you said you have some of those things on your handle that we can go and check. But I want to ask this, like savings, most especially in Nigeria, where the 1 naira today is not the same thing of 1 naira tomorrow. What should you do about that?
Wow.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Olaniyan, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. And for your comment on Twitter also, thank you. Really appreciate it. And thank you for the very kind words. Now on savings. We have a situation in Nigeria where the inflation rate has caught up with the savings rates, and when you have saved 1 naira, before you know what happens, the whatever you have saved has been eroded or overtaken by inflation of the economy, so that it makes nonsense of your savings. Now, nevertheless, there are still a few instruments where one can also continue to save. A lot of banks, a lot of financial organizations have different kinds of savings products that are different from the normal savings products, that encourages you, or that gives you a premium on your savings more than the normal savings products will do, but they come with conditions. Some of the conditions might be, you might not be able to withdraw for more than 2 or 3 times in a month. Ordinarily, your savings account, you can have access to it at any time. But some of these products have some restrictions so that you are able to get some higher savings or some higher interest rate on it. There are also some other organizations that are not strictly banks, but they are financial investment companies. I don't want to mention them now because it will be like I'm advertising for them. But they also have some products, savings products, that are linked, to some investment products, which gives you some premium greater than the savings that you do. Then don't forget that during the course of this particular training, I mentioned the fact that when you save your money and it has come to a particular critical amount, you can actually put it in some investment. It can be fixed deposits. And your fixed deposit will be definitely much more than what you get on savings account. there was a time that treasury bills was very, very interesting. Okay, it has gone down, but it is inching up again. And I know it will inch up a little bit more in a short while. Those are also investment vehicles. We call them fixed income securities, money. You put your money in the money market, and it gives you a little bit of interest more than what your normal savings account will give you. So definitely, inflation has caught up with us. It's going up at a very high rate, but there are still some investment buckets that are linked to the inflation rate. So they're a little bit ahead of that inflation rate, and that gives you some kind of returns for your money. But what I usually encourage people to do is also, if you have some critical amount, instead of just putting it strictly into savings, you can also put it into business, okay, which it will yield a higher returns. Can you buy a plot of land and resell after some time? Can you use it to lock in some wealth, okay, which you can unlock after some time, especially if you are not going to use the money for some time? Thank you.
Collins, I hope that works. Thank you very much, Mr. Abayo. Okay.
Shehu is raising his hand.
Shehu Ibitoye, shoot. Can we go ahead with the question?
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Bayo. It was a great session. Thank you so much. I think I've learned a lot. My question will be, sorry, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay. So my question will be based on starting. I mean, you mentioned something about all starting small and not very big, just starting small with what you have, and you don't have to go outside to get a loan or something. But sometimes we have, so I have two major businesses that I'm currently working on with a couple of people on my team, but those businesses, those projects requires a lot of money. So, and then we're looking at the options of partnerships. So I want you to help us, help me with, I don't know, with an advice this evening on how to go about the whole partnership thing, because there is a situation where you put your project forward to people and then you place partnership just because you know they have more leverage in terms of finances, or they have a very rich network to be able to push that project. And then there have been series of stories in the past of people hijacking people's projects or business ideas. Yes, so yes, we can literally put our money in them, but the funds we have is nothing compared to what we are trying to do for a start. So it's starting small, but it requires a lot of funds. So an example, okay, so I might not mention name, but one of the projects requires us working with a company in Belgium, right? And we've started a conversation, we started everything, but we are limited by finances because of what the startup or the deposit the partnership, the company in Belgium is requiring from us. So how do you think we should go about this in a world where partnership, people get to tweak whatever you're trying to do, you're trying to get them on board, they say they're not interested, and after a while you see them on the same project, or they just tweak the name, tweak the idea, but it's still the same thing that you put forward that they are doing. How do we go about this to make sure that this doesn't happen? Even though we put forward an NDA and all of those things, but they find a way to still tweak the project that the name is not related, the processes are not related in a way, but the structure is the same, and everything in your idea, you can see almost 70% of the element of your ideas in what they are implementing. So we are trying to avoid this, which is why we are laid back for now, but your advice would go a long way, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Shehu. Thank you. Great question there. Talking about partnerships, I encourage partnerships because there are a lot of times that you can't go it alone. But you need to approach the issue of partnership with some basic understanding. Number one, what is everybody going to bring to the table? If you're going to go into partnership with 2, 3, 4, 5 people, you need to be very, very precise about what each person is going to be contributing. So are you contributing money? How much is it going to be? If you don't have money, if it is the time that you are contributing, how do we quantify that time that you are contributing on your goodwill? If you are pushing this, maybe because you have connection or leverage, how do we quantify that your leverage or the connection in terms of your shareholding and all that? So from day one, be very, very specific about what each person is going to contribute, okay? Make sure that everybody has a skin in the game. If people don't have a skin in the game, they can walk away very easily. I've gone into partnerships and I've been bumped, okay? But I've learned my lessons. There was a particular project that I wanted to do, something that was about e-commerce. It was going to be e-commerce. And I was going to do it with about 2 other younger guys who had the experience working in that e-commerce space. But they wanted somebody who was going to fund it. And I said I was going to bring the fund. So I brought the fund 100%. I brought the fund 100%. Everything was me, okay? What they brought in was just their experience running e-commerce platforms, working for e-commerce companies before. That was the only thing they brought, okay? So we set up our own e-commerce sites, we did everything, but I funded it 100%. And I remember on a weekly basis, every Sunday, we'll sit out in a restaurant where I'll be looking at the books, looking at the activities for the week for about a few hours and all that and all that, okay? But because they didn't have skin in the game, they were the ones who were running it. The day-to-day operations were these 2 guys. But because they did not have skin in the game, it was mismanaged, okay? I asked them not to hire a particular person because what we were going to be paying the person per month, I didn't think it was necessary. But they went ahead and hired this person. And before you know what happened, we had a lot of inventory on our hand that we couldn't sell. The business was going down, and then one of them just said he was not interested anymore. Now, I began to ask myself, if you had your money in needs, would you just wake up one morning and walk away? I did not get a dime, not a single dime back in that business, and I invested serious money. Okay, but I learned from that particular experience that if you don't have your skin in the game, then I'm not going to go into that business. So you need to understand, what is everybody bringing? Are they going to have their skin in the game? 1, so you define it. Number 2, you must have an agreement. Partnership is not by mouth. Document it. Get a lawyer to document it. Don't say because you are friends or you attend the same church or you know them. No, 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 no. Partnership doesn't work that way. Document it. What is everybody's contribution? And your contribution will amount to which shareholding. Let it be documented. Let every partner understand their roles, their responsibilities, their obligations, if there are obligations, okay? And let everything be documented by a lawyer. Let everybody sign. There must be a partnership agreement, okay? Don't go into partnership without having a partnership agreement, without running it through your lawyer, everybody sitting down to agree on the scope and the duties, responsibility, and obligations of each of the partners. And you have to so define it that if you want to walk away, under which condition can you walk away and all that. So that's about partnership, okay? While it is good for, partnership helps you to be able to have leverage on either people bringing funds together or somebody having time and connection and all that, okay? It is very good, but you must have a partnership agreement in place. But nevertheless, I also say that when you have a situation where you are sharing your ideas because you are looking for somebody to come to support you or somebody to partner with you. You have mentioned the fact that you actually issue non-disclosure agreements, okay? Yes, non-disclosure agreements are good. That if I share this idea with you, please ensure you don't discuss with any other person. But oftentimes, you don't even have a way to even enforce those NDAs. Does that mean you will not share those ideas? Does that mean you will not put your business plan in a format that people can read? What I usually encourage people to do is when you're sharing your business plan, don't share it 100%. Okay, share the basic stuff that can get you invited to come and deliver the full picture. Okay, don't share the full stuff so that the full stuff is now in the public domain. Try and just give the basic stuff that will get you invited to come and give a pitch. And then when you go ahead to give the pitch, well, you don't have a choice than to give it all. But I tell people, if it's your idea, okay, you will run it and you're the only one that can run it well. Other people may steal it and tweak it, but they may not be able to run it as well as you can. But don't be afraid of pitching your ideas because people are going to steal your ideas. No. I've written a lot of articles online that I've seen them attributed to a lot of other people. But do I stop writing? Some of the very good articles I've written, I will just hear Professor. In fact, somebody made a video with my article word for word. Somebody was a commissioner in one of the states in the South. I had to challenge him. I said, this is plagiarism. This is my article, word for word. Initially, he resisted until I showed him proof. Then he told me it was his PA who got it for him. Okay, so, but that will not stop me from writing because some people stole my ideas. Okay, that will not stop me from writing. But what I do is I try to now protect myself more. There are copyright laws. Okay, there are copyright infringements. So at times when you need to pitch your ideas, maybe you talk to a lawyer, okay, who will help you to draw up some agreements and all that and all that. Okay, I hope this helps. Thank you.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much.
Any other question? I can't see anybody's hand. All right. I don't think there's any other question. I'm looking through the chat. I can't see any questions. Just one question from the slide. All right, Mr. Bayo, thank you so very much. On behalf of middle managers of the Covenant Nation, I'd like to sincerely say a big thank you to you. You know, I've been an ardent follower. In fact, one day I was discussing one of your articles when my pastor's wife told me that you worked with her, Simidole Ogunaike.
Oh,
yeah.
Simi, wow. Yes, 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 she was my colleague. Interesting.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Please, I would like everybody to unmute their mic and say a big thank you to
Sorry, Wale, before
yes,
people will unmute their mics, I finally got back on. I've been all over the place. Sorry, I've been in Ibadan for the preparation for the launch of our new center, which will kick off tomorrow. So that's why perhaps the network and all that. So, so thank you so much, Mr. Bao. I want you to do something before you go. So I want you to talk about your books, if you didn't, the 3 books, and then your handles, so that people can follow you. I've gained a lot following you, and I think that it will be beneficial for everybody to have that information, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Okwayemi. Thank you. Nice to have you back. You're in my city, Ibadan. Okay.
This is Bukumi. You called me Okwayemi, sir.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so you're in my city. That's good. Okay, I have 3 books that I've authored. My first book, I co-authored it with a friend, is a football devotional. But the 2 books written solely by me, 40 Lessons I Learned Along the Way. 40 Lessons is a very practical book, very insightful book. I shared some practical experience. I actually wrote the book when I turned 40. So I shared 40 lessons that I've learned in life. And a lot of people have found it very, very impactful, very insightful, very amazing. I also have it on, it's on Amazon. I have it as audio recording. I also have the book on Amazon. You can also get the book from Roving Heights. Roving Heights Books also sell the book. Now, my latest book is 30 Career Lessons I Learned Along the Way. I discovered that I've been a professional for about 21 years now. And then a lot of the things I learned were by trial and error. Nobody actually wrote to tell me this is what you do, as a professional. This is how you behave in the office. This is how you comport yourself. Personal development, this is where you go. So a lot of us have had to just grope through the dark to be able to write, And I felt it would be good to share some career lessons with people. By the grace of God, currently I'm a deputy general manager in the bank. So I wanted to give back. I just wanted people to learn, to be able to learn from the experience I've gathered. And it is not just for financial people. Lessons that are applicable to professionals everywhere. I spoke about having a plan B, because I've seen a lot of people shot themselves in the foot to lose your job and then your life just gets messy, you know, and all that and all that. I shared about handling politics in the workplace. These are lessons that people don't understand, and it is to their own detriment. You know, something happened recently, I mean, just this week, and I felt the politics side of it was not handled very well. So you can be very brilliant and be very good. If you don't handle the politics side of it, you will shoot yourself in the foot, okay? And you can be a very strong believer, you know, and it's not the devil. It is you not being able to handle the politics side. So I wrote about workplace politics. I wrote about getting promotion. There are 30 lessons that I shared in that book. And the feedback on that book has been that it has been amazing. It's been a fantastic book, very, very practical, you know, and it's available on Amazon. It's also available, you can get it from Roving Heights. Roving Heights will deliver to you anywhere you are in Nigeria. So you can just tweet at Roving Heights and tell them that you need those 2 books. Give them your address and they will deliver to you. My Twitter handle is Greater Bio, at Greater Bio, at Greater Bio. You can also follow me on Facebook, Bio Adeyinka on Facebook, and I'm also at Greater Bio on Instagram, okay? Twitter at Greater Bio, Instagram at Greater Bio, Facebook, Bio Adeyinka. Facebook, I have 2 handles, Bio Adeyinka and Bio Adeyinka 2. You'll see them. Thank you very much, thank you. Also on YouTube, I have a lot of free videos on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, Bio Adeyinka, just look for it. I have a lot of free YouTube presentations and trainings on CV, how to write your CV, attending presentations, attending interviews, and some Instagram live interviews that I did with some people, the late Ubon King, you'll find it there. Some fantastic people also that I interviewed on things around career and businesses. You'll find a lot of free resources on my YouTube channel. Just visit it, Bio Adeyinka on YouTube, and then you get the free resources. Thank you.
Over to you, Wale. You can wrap up now.
Okay, thank you for coming. Okay, please, I want everyone to unmute their mic and say thank you to Mr. Bayo. Wrap it up.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bayo.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bayo.
Thank you for your patience, especially
Thank you for Thank you for the
It was
platform.
very
Thank
much
you.
longer than we planned.
It was staying through.
It's
What
okay.
a session.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Your session with Mrs.
We'll definitely
Apampalasa
stay in
was
touch.
epic.
We will reach out to you for other sessions in future. You know, there's
No
so much to learn
I'm
from you.
always available. No problem. Bye bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
So, okay, good evening. How did your day go? All right, bye everyone. Good night.